Hi guys, I know it's been a minute and um, I've been not been putting out more YouTube videos and I'm sorry about that. I've just been trying to get into the rhythm of this creator thing while also try to make a living like an artist like you. Today's episode is going to be interesting because I've had some more time to spend with the C400. So um, we're going to be looking at how to get clean Canon RAW files from the C400. There's been overwhelming comments on how the Canon RAW file system is quite noisy and why that is and what we can do about it. And these are some of the pointers we'll be discussing in today's video, how to get out clean RAW files out of the Canon RAW system. And this also would apply to from as old as the camera as the C200 to as recent as the C400, which I actually did this test on. So the Canon RAW files have always been a robust system that has actually been very robust in terms of applications or support, in terms of flexibility, and also difficult in playability in terms of using it as a benchmark to see how good the system is. It's always been a very beefed up codec. And with the nature of raw files come with several noise that is coming with so much high details and high volume of data, which has been shifted from the production end to the post-production pipeline. And sometimes that information comes with so much noise data. So upon going through the camera picture profile settings, uh, due to the overwhelming comment online on the raw signal is very noisy, it's very noisy. So I did stumble across among the picture profile settings, there's a noise reduction factor, and this like spurred me to actually jump into this test in how to like get cleaner signals in raw mode or even out of the C400 as a camera. And the first way we tried was to create two picture profiles into the camera. The first one is already C-Log2 that's locked. So I created another C-Log2 in the camera that also has it locked, but with this time with the automatic noise reduction on and the spatial noise reduction cranked up to 8. And if we both examine the footage, the test footage we're looking at where we actually see them, the one that was shot with just the C-Log2 noise picture profile styles and the one that was shot without the noise reduction in the picture profile side with the C-Log2 curve, you would notice that it is evident that the Canon RAW system in the camera bypasses any of such compression because there is no um, any notice or significant presence of softening or cleanup that happens within the shadows or within the noise profile. It's identical. And this leads us to understand that when it comes to the camera raw capabilities in the camera, it bypasses most of those settings and functions, and most of them just serve as advisement in terms of maybe for your viewer monitor. Because if you also look into the picture profile settings, there's also a way you could load up looks into it. And this allows you to be able to expose in the way you would like to expose or design certain things for creative reasons. It does me a very big favor if you take on the second and leave it a like and a thumbs up. That will help us tell others that the video was useful to you, and the algorithm will pick it up and help us also grow. Please take out some time and hit that button and let's go on from there. But switching back to the topic of noise, if we go and actually just shoot the sensor cap data, what I mean by that is when you cover the sensor with a cap and just all you see is black, and you see and you compare the noise profile on the histogram, they are very identical. There is no difference between the one that was shot with the C-Log2 with noise reduction and without the C-Log2 noise reduction, which supports my initial claim of both profiles bypasses most of the in-camera settings, which bypasses the internal camera compression or the loss of detailing that should happen. So you just get out whatever the camera has processed from the sensor. So the next way I did actually try to also attempt trying to get cleaner exposures out of the camera was trying to expose the camera by two stops. And what this does essentially, it allowed two stops of information to be present now in the shadow because the shadow now receives two more stops of light that helps to lower the noise floor and reduce the amount of signal to noise ratio on the noise floor. And in doing that and comparing the two-stop overexposure to the normal camera, when you bring it back down in post, you can see the noise floor drops And this you can evidently do even in camera with the sensor cap data. When you see it actually gives you a lot more cleaner pictures. So invariably you're introducing more light to the sensor, and this helped to like clean up a bunch of things in terms of the signal to noise ratio, the quality of the signal of the pixels that you get, and also make sure the sensor, the BSI sensor, is exposed to enough light. If we examine the sensor cap data and try to apply the two-stop of overexposure to it by lowering it, right, because they were both shot at 12,800 ISO, so you can see how bold the noise is. So if you drop it down by two stops, it's going to go into 3200, then 1600, which is where you'll be rating it. If you use the Resolve Color Management Color Space Aware tool, whereby you can actually map the HDR wheels into Canon C400 profile and lower the global wheel by two stops, you can see how quickly the noise profile is cut in half. And what that does to the camera, like we now see in the present footage, it just provides us with a lot more cleaner pictures, sharper details, and better quality pictures that's available within the entire camera. But once we leave the RAW workflow and move into compressed codecs such as the XF-AVC or XF-AVC, either the 422 or the 420, now the camera begins to engage in internal compression. And if you compare the noise profile between the raw signal and also the signal captured with the C-Log2 custom picture profile on with the noise reduction on in it, like we did where we set it to automatic noise reduction and spatial noise reduction was raised to 8. If you compare both signals, there's a drastic, not just loss of information, but a drastic cleanness, because now the camera is not doing a lot of compressing and clean up, whereby it's picking up more of the workload, and you can see a lot more cleaner signals. Like the presence of the signal to noise ratio in that configuration is a lot more clean. And this begs the question, is it more attractive to shoot in XF-AVC than in RAW? Both have their advantage and disadvantages, and we'll come back to that as we keep on exploring. Now, the third way you could get a cleaner signal out of the camera is to actually record the raw workflow, or even record the normal XF-AVC or HEVC workflow without any noise reduction, and take all of that processing into Resolve to do the cleanup, whereby you can have controlled, dedicated processing tailored to be able to like clean up the noise properly. Now, why this is important where you put this chain of processing in the workflow is because the camera, like it's $8,000 body, right? With all a small microcomputer that's embedded in it. This time you're now assigning a dedicated computer that is dedicated to the processing of removing noise reduction as opposed to leaving all that burden on the camera. So it's almost like saying specialization on one thing with a larger tool that could help, or a very tiny small tool that all it can do is do a lot of things as best as it can. And this has its benefit and also has its drawbacks. Sometimes the noise reduction in camera may not be good and you may get better result in post. So that's like the third means whereby you can record your raw files and have a dedicated processing node whereby you can cache out all your nodes and clean up the shots to be able to regrain it in the way that you can now add the texture and make it a lot more without losing much details. Now, where this workflow may come into in terms of C400, for those who does high-end work that have the post lead time to be able to do recording raw and handle noise reduction in post, that is great, right? Because you'll be able to control the detailing, lots of detail, and you can still get high fidelity images from the camera. But for those that are into fast turnaround time, maybe content creation, live broadcast, and some other workflows that require something very speedy, well, the XF-HEVC, because I believe the compression it's a lot lesser than the one that's available in RAW, HQ, SQ, or LT that's available in the camera. And because there's now lower data size, right? Volume of data is low, you get a lot more time out of your memory cards, and the camera does a lot of processing for you so that you get a faster start point for quick turnarounds. And this could also work for episodic show, a bunch of other scenarios whereby you could get a lot more cleaner signal, playing with the fact that the camera also have the ability to go into the triple base ISO, and it's a lot more interesting when you're playing at the 12,800 ISO, which the camera boasts in delivering amazing images at. So my recommendation is on the topic of getting cleaner signals from the camera will be one, overexposed by two stops, right? And so you can get like more light into the information, design a technical look that on your monitor that can advise you on how to go about that. Two, after exposing by two stop, you could also choose to shoot in the HEVC or AVC codec with your noise reduction on, because that way your shadow is getting more information. So even if the compression is happening, the camera is also just being able to clear out what the signal to noise ratio is, right? And that could be a start point. Or you could also overexpose the shot by two stops initially to lower the noise floor and take the noise reduction process to your computer, whereby you can actually do the processing of denoising and regraining to be able to create the selected structure. But one last thing not to overlook is also a good part of reducing your noise reduction that I didn't mention earlier is also doing your auto black balance. On the camera, it's called ABB. This usually set the base noise floor to be able to give you a constant clean noise floor and make your blacks are set properly, so that that gives you like a good point. So before you start any shoot in the day or when you move between environments, well, it doesn't take, it takes like 2 minutes. Go to the settings, hit the ABB, and that will lower the noise floor on the sensor by actually doing a calibration on all the blacks that's actually available, so that the sensor can differentiate what is electrical noise from the blacks that's present in the shot. And that's like also an additional way to actually lower the noise floor. So I'll take a second to say, if this has been helpful to you, we're a small channel, please leave a thumbs up right here, as it helps us to be able to let the algorithm know that this was important to you. And that's the only way we could keep making content like this and reach a wide variety of people and actually support the channel. And whatever ways you can support us, we appreciate it by watching the entire episode, since you already made it to the end. And this will help us. I'm sure you've seen this in the shot. It's for a later episode. And like, you know, we're in Nigeria, so there's a lot of processes. It's going to take a while before hopefully this gets to see the light, because we have to like shoot it. With the K3 that's right there, we have to process it, and I'll have to discuss my own takes of the of the entire film series and all that we sorry and all that we discovered while going about making film. So this has been an interesting conversation. If there's anything you'd like us to know, as I continue to use this camera, I'll be able to share my thoughts on all the things to optimize workflows, because cameras have become so amazing these days that if we just put in a little bit of effort, there's so much amazing things that we can actually create. Until next time that I see you, improvise, adapt, and overcome. And don't forget to subscribe and give us a thumbs up. Thank you.